Hello and welcome. My name is Rev Bowen from Simply Waldorf. I hope you'll enjoy this video in which we will cover some basic principles and simple concepts you can apply in your homeschool program or in a classroom setting. At the end of this video, we will share some free offers from Simply Waldorf. So let's get started. First grade language arts. So the first thing to understand about first grade language arts is that we're going to pull these language lessons out of the fairy tales that I have given 36 stories in the storytelling course to help storytellers feel more comfortable and to practice just skill after skill in storytelling. And then in the language arts course, we take those stories that have been presented and we see how we pull language lessons out of the stories. In first grade, the language lessons can seem deceptively simple. So let me give you a brief warning about how to properly consider the lessons that I'll present. In first grade, we present some words, and we pull the letters out of those words. Those words themselves are pulled out of pictures, and the pictures themselves are pulled out of the fairy tales. So if you had a reader, a student who's already reading when they enter first grade, this may seem rudimentary or even regressive. But I want you to reconsider that notion, because I've taught plenty of first grade students who are already reading, some of them quite fluently, and they loved the activity of doing what I'm about to describe. In language arts, in first grade, we use a 3-day rhythm. 3-day rhythm every time. It's just a nice little routine. So on the first day of the rhythm, we tell the story. We tell the fairy tale. We tell it as beautifully as we can so that it really lives in their souls. They build the images with their imaginations, and then they let it go to sleep. A very critical part of the process is letting it all go to sleep. That's all. First day. Story, that's it. Second day. Well, let me go back to the first day and just say what we're seeing on this first day is a willful activity. Now, it's not willful in the sense that we sometimes think of the will forces in the body as just moving and pushing and straining or growing. This is a will on the inside. And just think of the difference between when you hear a story and you create the images yourself, or you read a story and you create all those images yourself. That's an active process. It's a passive process. It's not willful when you see a video. The video gives you the images. You don't have to do anything. You just passively receive all of it. That's the basic difference. So when we tell them a story and we give them these rich images and they build them up inside themselves in their own imagination world, that is a will exercise. And it's great because we all need stronger wills and the ability to envision things. So that's where this starts. That's the first day. Okay, goes to sleep. Second day, we review that story to pull some images out of the memory, to wake that up a little bit. And then we take one of the images typically, and we do an artistic activity with it. So we're taking it from the will forces and bringing it up and making it a willful feeling level activity. The arts live in the feeling. The arts are not about mathematical precision or right, wrong, true, false. The arts live in a much more subjective feeling level of human activity. So we typically have them do a drawing And let's just say, for example, I told a fairy tale that has a mountain in it. Lots of fairy tales have mountains in them. So on the second day, I would draw a picture with the child, and they create a mountain with two peaks. Notice, two peaks. This is kind of the classic example. That's all we do. We finish the drawing, we add whatever details from the story, it's beautiful, and they feel complete. And that is complete. The second day, just like the first day, they're all their own processes, and they're each one very important. Now they are bringing it from just their imagination world, they're bringing it into their feeling life and creating something out of that. That's a fundamental activity. We let that go to sleep. Third day. Now on the third day, they've brought it through the will, they've brought it through the feeling. We're going to bring it up a little bit, just a little, but we're going to bring it a little bit into the head, into the thinking aspect of the human being. We're going to look at the picture, and after reviewing the story again to wake it up, we're going to look at the picture and say, now see in this picture the mountain. We heard about it in the story, we drew it in our picture, and here it is. If I trace the mountain peaks, you see that mountain. Now I'm going to have them write the whole word. I didn't say anything about letters or words or anything. Just saw the shape in the picture. That's it. Now we write the whole word, mountain. The whole word. I don't talk about spelling rules or anything. Mountain, the whole word. Now do you hear the first sound in that word? Mountain. Mountain. They hear it. So it's in the living form of language, where it lives when we're speaking and listening. Yes, you hear that. Well, here's how we make that one sound. And now we draw that shape, just like we did in the picture. That's where that shape comes from. This shape says, see, I haven't even named it yet. Haven't named it. It's the last thing. We're still keeping it as alive as possible. From our story, from our picture, we have a shape, and that shape says, and we call it the letter M. That's the very last thing. Picture how different that is from hearing, as I did in school, and I'm not saying that this is horrible, but it's just very different to hear this letter is the letter M. It says So by doing it the way we do it, we provide them a very rich context for experiencing language that comes from something they love, the story and the imagination. And we bring it down into the world, into the earth, by taking it through their own activities of will and feeling and then thinking, and finally we arrive at the abstract idea, this symbolic representation of sound in our language, the letters themselves. So that is what we will do with all of the fairy tales that I told in the fairy tale course. 36 fairy tales will be told, and I will pull out 36 language lessons. So that will be letters. Obviously there aren't 36 letters. We'll do some letters, and then we will get into writing words. You don't have to do every single letter of the alphabet that way. They catch on after 10 even. But you could do as many as you want. You could do them all. I will do a good number of letters, and then we will work with words and even short sentences in first grade. And again, all of these are done in a way that's meaningfully brought out of the story. So it doesn't matter if the child is already reading fluently. They will still enjoy these types of lessons. I always encourage teachers to be flexible and to know how to adapt, but nevertheless, don't think you have to speed ahead to just make things as advanced as possible or as sophisticated as possible just for advancement's sake. There's a richness happening in this full activity that's also feeding the intelligence of the child. Trust me, I've done this many times with many students. And when we have a full and rich experience of these things, like language and math and arts, then when we come to that time in our life when we will call upon very abstract thinking and high intellectual pursuits, we will have an even richer foundation for pursuing it. Thank you for watching the video. I hope it was helpful. Please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the logo here and giving us a thumbs up below. We'd love it if you would share our video with other Waldorf Homeschool families and/or classroom teachers. You can find the free offer in the description below, as well as links to other valuable resources.